Okay. All right. How's everybody doing? Great? Great? Okay. So I feel great too because I see a lot more people this year than compared with last year. So yeah, I guess maybe the COVID-19 is really fading away this time, finally. Hooray. Right, without any further ado, I will start the presentation. So welcome everybody to this session. My name is Jin Park, a senior global business developer from VIRNECT, an industrial XR company from South Korea. So for today's talk, I will talk about the driving trends in XR, a little bit about our company, and our customers, and our partners. Right, 52% of Fortune 500 companies have been purchased, gone bankrupt, or ceased to exist since 2000 due to digital disruption. The industrial sector is not immune. Digital innovation is one of the key things that industrial executives are keeping up their nights. They're forced to find their footings in this new meta world to stay competitive. They ask questions. How can I design and build product faster? How can I accelerate and optimize distributed and aging workforce? I'm trying to squeeze in every bit of margin as I can. How can I reduce costly downtime? How can I recruit and retain my new employees faster and cheaper? How can I centralize knowledge and maximize retention? These are just a few of the questions that industrial executives are struggling with in this new industrial paradigm. VIRNECT, an industrial collaborative XR platform provider, have been providing XR solutions to industrial enterprises throughout the years. Our mission is to connect reality and virtuality to robots and people across time and space to leverage data, information, and institution knowledge to drive a clear ROI and provide the competitive edge for the industrial organizations. In today's session, I would like to share how we enable impact, safety, and scale at industrial sites, and why VIRNECT is one of the fastest growing XR solution provider in South Korea. So if I may talk about what our offerings are, VIRNECT's industrial collaborative XR platform. VIRNECT Make and View is knowledge acquisition and retention tools. With VIRNECT Make, anyone can create immersive XR content without needing to write a single line of code. Once the XR content is created, it works across the various realities such as assisted reality, augmented reality, mixed, and virtual reality. These XR content can be uploaded to the cloud server and be managed from the web-based platform called Workstation. The managers can distribute this XR content as tasks, such as assembly tasks or maintenance tasks. VIRNECT Remote, a multi-location collaboration solution that connects frontline workers with remote experts. It leverages various IT functionalities, translation features, AR annotation, sharing files, and many more. One of the key advantages of our solution is that it's integratable with various hardware, such as robots and even drones. Another key feature is that advantage is that it can be deployed in a secured network, MDN, private LTE, and VPN. to maximize the security for our customers. All right, we talked about our value offerings, and I would like to talk about how our offerings are being used by our customers. Mire Sohe Energy supplies they are one of the major natural gas supplier in South Korea, servicing more than 200,000 households across west part of South Korea. They are the major supplier for the petrochemical, energy, and automotive industry. The notable companies that they work with is Hyundai Steel, Hanwha Total, and Dongdeok Steel. They reached us out to VIRNECT with following challenges. How do we accelerate our digital transformation? How can we improve maintenance, efficiency, and knowledge transfer? How do we improve retention, efficiency, in training? Solution is to establish digital continuity to reduce incidents and downtime. Mire Sohe Energy established and operationalized emergency situation room. VIRNECT, with VIRNECT XR platform, they have managed to connect frontline workers with remote experts. They are using AI annotations to get supports immediately and get the jobs done much faster. And they have managed to decrease accident rate and reduce downtime. They used to use these thick 2D manuals to learn what needs to be done. They're now using Make and View and knowledge acquisition tool to reduce the onboarding time. With a clear roadmap, first deployment use cases are digitization of maintenance manuals, processes and machines, reduce travel time and cost through remote inspection, supervision, and maintenance, optimized operations, throughput, and reduced downtime. Another use case that I would like to share with you today is XR-based training program done by KAC, Korea Airport Corporation. They host around 100 training programs, and they had around more than 1,000 pilots trained from 109 countries. They are also a trusted partner with the Korean Army and the commercialized airlines in South Korea. These were the challenges that VIRNECT was resolved. So they had only one simulator for 20 pilot trainees, and it's not scalable at all. And as you see on the left corner, it's this large simulator. It's very expensive. Per training, it cost them $2,000. It's very expensive, and it takes a lot of space. And in terms of traveling time, the cadets where they used to get the training done, and traveling to this simulator was very time-consuming. So let me show you what the XR content that we delivered to KAC. So we worked very closely with the learning and development team to digitize the maintenance, training materials and decentralized and replicate the simulation training and create immersive experiences for trainees to learn faster and retain more. So when you compare 2D monodirectional sort of training compared with the immersive 3D self-learning content, there's just a huge gap in terms of knowledge acquisition rate. So XR technology bridges the gap between simulator, a classroom, and the cockpit to make training more accessible and cost-efficient and immersive. Cost and safety is no longer an issue for KAC. We are proud to work with KAC to make the skies more safer. Now, KAC also leveraged the no-code digitization tool. This is particularly important. It's because major training centers around the globe do not provide training courses for the smaller, less-known aircraft. So now KAC can explore these niche markets using VIRNECT's digitization, no-code digitization tool. Now, with the proven solution, we want to scale across the globe, and we have found a few of partners around the globe. And luckily, we have proximity from Peruvian market. They have been introducing our solution to mining industry in Peru. David Alva, the co-founder, he is here to introduce how our solution is being used. So,
thank you, Jin.
Yeah.
Thank you for the presentation. Thank you for your introduction. Yes, my name is David Alva. I am the co-founder and CMO of Proximity. And what is Proximity? Basically, we are an immersive learning platform for frontline workers in high-risk industries such as mining, construction, and energy. I want to talk briefly about our working as a partner for VIRNECT and our impact in mining industries in particular, how we're leveraging these XR technologies to further deliver better and safer training for the workforce. So at Proximity, what we do basically is integrate 3 core components. We deliver an immersive course training catalog for high-risk tasks, such as, for example, working at heights. We pair this with tools for analytics, as well as deployment, such as support and certification with local partners. And we've delivered this type of solution for some of the biggest mining companies in Peru and Latin America, for example, with great results so far, such as managing to reduce by 94% in failing evaluations for frontline workers, and managing savings for times and costs for companies like MMG during the pandemic, where we replaced their physical field-based training with virtual reality-based training. And we've done these kind of impact solutions for companies like Hudbay, Nexa, and Enel, all global companies with operations in the country. And I want to talk briefly about some of these industry inefficiencies that Jin was alluding to before in his presentation, and how this has been impacted further by COVID. So the mining industry, particularly in Latin America, is very, very traditional. Physicality is still the standard. This is real for training as well as for maintenance and operations. And for example, training is conducted by 2 main traditional methods, classroom training and field training. The problem is classroom training, typically traditional classroom training, does not reach learning goals such as motivation or high knowledge retention. It only achieves compliance for safety. On the other hand, field training, while could be effective, it is time consuming, it's very costly, and it can even be risky in some situations, especially if we consider that we have to move workers to remote locations to conduct this training. Now, what happened with COVID? Basically, all training moved to virtual-based solutions. That means using Zoom and Teams as platforms for instructors delivering training to their workers. Obviously, as you can predict, this was not effective, even less so than traditional training. Additionally, typically in mining companies, recertification is part of the process where workers have to get recertified each year for these high-risk tasks. This is definitely complicated under COVID-19 restrictions. And this all means that supervisors are scrambling to look for alternatives with virtual solutions to replace these physically based operations. And what does this mean? In few words, that means that the need for effective and efficient virtual training solutions and operations is more urgent than ever. So this is why we partnered with VIRNECT, basically to deliver an integrated XR approach in order to deliver to these mining companies better, safer, and more effective training for frontline workers, as well as reducing costs for company. We do this by combining our virtual training platform solution, as well as VIRNECT's software for telepresence and supervision, maintenance, and operations. And we set up some goals for this year, basically in achieving impact to over 1,200 workers by upskilling them safely and effectively, improving operational efficiency for 6 large-scale mining companies, and establishing these operations as successful use cases that can help us expand to other regions. Now, I want to talk briefly about what our first deployment experience has been with a mine called Hochschild Mining. They are a gold mine operating in South America with operations in Peru, Chile, and Argentina, and just in Peru, 4 mining sites. The challenges they encountered with which they came to us was basically the ones that Jin has enumerated before in his presentation, like maintenance being carried out by external expert technicians having to transport themselves to these remote mining sites. Also, routine inspections. Supervisors from HQ have to travel on a monthly basis to all of these different sites, basically balancing their time from one site to the other to conduct inspection for compliance. And finally, job recertification, which is many times conducted by external certifiers that have to travel to these remote locations. Now, what's the issue? The issue is that these places are not easily accessible. For example, Inmaculada mine, the mine that we went to deliver these solutions, is located almost 5,000 meters above the sea level and also reachable in over 13 hours on a bus from one of the nearest cities like Cusco and 25 hours from the capital city of Lima. So it's not easily accessible. What does this mean? It means high costs in trips and accommodations amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars each year and also signifying a lot of time for the supervisors in charge of these roles. So this is why we thought the XR was the key solution to solving some of these core issues. We implemented just last month VIRNECT Remote for alleviating these issues in maintenance assistance in the manufacturing plants, also to help with supervision from HQ. In many cases, some of the supervisors in HQ in the capital city hadn't even gone to the mine in quite some time because of COVID. This gave them additional visibility. And finally, using the Proximity's VR training solution for recertification of frontline workers in these high-risk tasks. So this has been just a month, but we already have some great early-stage results. We've been able to deliver these assistance to these senior technicians in conveyor belts, very high-risk procedures, without having to transport the expert technicians, avoiding one-week accommodations and trip costs. Also, we've been able to generate remote inspection, avoiding that supervisors have to mobilize themselves to each of these mining sites. Like I mentioned, it's almost one site a week, so we can imagine the time saved there. And also, finally, VR training for what was in 1 week 70 frontline workers, and we expect that number to grow to 150 at the first month just for the first stage results. And what better to showcase some of these experiences, not from me, but from the workers themselves. We have a brief video with some testimonials we'd like to share.
La virtualización, la calidad también ha sido bastante alta.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for hearing us out. So to summarize, VIRNECT is the leading XR platform provider. We are seeking for partners around the globe. So to nurture this nascent XR ecosystem. So if anyone's interested, please come by to our booth number 522 tomorrow. Thank you very much. We'll take one questions. If you guys have any, if anyone has a question? No? Yes?
I'm just curious how Proximity found VIRNECT. I mean, you're based in Latin America, and VIRNECT's a South Korean company, so I'm just curious, a lot of people looking for solutions, but is it mostly through word of mouth or just simple Google
search? So there was a project sort of organized by the IADB, Inter-American Development Bank. They had introduced sort of leading, like a well-founded Asian startup with the sort of startups from Latin America. So this was sort of the project that we had, and that's how we matched up. Right.
Here's
Oh,
mic
sure.
at the front. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, in terms of deployment, is this a software as a service, or do they run the software at their own site, or what's the...
Okay. Thank you for that question. We've got to actually, both business model works. So we've got SaaS business model, and there's some customers, especially in Asia countries, the enterprise are very overprotective over their data, so we also provide a private service where we deploy our solution to on-premise, or if they prefer private cloud service, that's also a viable option. Yes. All right. Okay, thank you very much again. Cheers.